Let me begin with a truth many people learn the hard way. Attraction is not built on effort alone. You can be kind, you can be loyal, you can be supportive, and still find yourself standing in a place called the friend zone. Now, that can be confusing because somewhere along the line, many people were taught that if you just care enough, give enough, and stay long enough, love will eventually grow. But relationships don't work like a waiting line. Attraction is not a reward for patience, it's a response to presence. And the moment someone places you in the friend zone, it's rarely because you're not good enough. It's usually because the energy between you has been defined. And once a label is placed on a relationship, it becomes very difficult to change. Not impossible, but difficult. And the reason is simple. Human beings protect the stories they create about others. When someone decides you are the safe friend, their mind organizes every interaction around that story. So the real question becomes this: how do you change the story? Because you cannot argue your way out of the friend zone. You cannot negotiate attraction. And you cannot convince someone to feel something they don't. But there is one thing that can shift the dynamic: growth, real, visible, undeniable growth. You see, attraction is often connected to perception, and perception changes when people see you differently than before. If someone has always known you as the agreeable, always available friend, the dynamic becomes predictable, safe, comfortable, and comfort rarely creates desire. That's the paradox many people struggle with. The more they try to prove their worth by doing more favors, offering more attention, and being endlessly available, the deeper they reinforce the very role they're trying to escape. Because attraction thrives on mystery, confidence, and emotional independence, not constant availability. So the first step in changing the friend zone dynamic is not trying harder, it's stepping back. Not out of bitterness, not out of manipulation, but out of self respect. When your life becomes larger than your pursuit of one person, something powerful happens. Your energy changes. Your focus shifts toward growth, your ambitions, your purpose, your goals. And when people see someone moving forward with clarity and confidence, the perception of that person begins to evolve. Now, here's the deeper lesson. Even if the friend zone never changes, the growth still benefits you because the real goal in life is not to convince one person to choose you. It's to become someone whose life is so full of direction, purpose, and character that the right people are naturally drawn to it. And let's be honest, sometimes the friend zone is not rejection, it's redirection, a signal that your energy might be better invested somewhere else. You cannot build attraction by shrinking yourself to fit someone's comfort, but you can build a powerful life by expanding your standards. And here is where maturity enters the conversation. Mature people understand that affection must be mutual. If you are constantly giving attention that is not being returned, that is not love. That is imbalance. Healthy relationships grow when two people meet each other with equal interest, equal respect, and equal curiosity, not when one person is trying to earn the position the other never offered. Now, let me give you a perspective that can change your life. Rejection is information, nothing more. It tells you where you stand, and that knowledge is valuable. Because once you understand your position, you can decide your direction. You can continue investing your energy in a situation that does not move forward, or you can invest that energy into building yourself, learning new skills, improving your health, expanding your experiences, developing the confidence that comes from becoming someone who is not waiting to be chosen, but living fully regardless. And here's the interesting part. When people see someone who is confident without needing validation, their perception often changes. Not always, but often. And even if it doesn't change for that one person, it will change for someone else. Because confidence is magnetic, purpose is attractive, self respect is powerful. So if you ever find yourself in the friend zone, don't see it as a verdict on your worth. See it as a moment of clarity, a moment that invites you to grow beyond the role you've been given. Stop trying to negotiate attraction. Start building a life that naturally attracts. Because the most powerful shift you can make is this: instead of asking, how do I get out of the friend zone? Ask a better question. How do I become the kind of person whose presence creates attraction naturally? That question will lead you to confidence. It will lead you to purpose. And ultimately, it will lead you to relationships built not on persuasion, but on genuine desire. And that kind of connection is worth far more than escaping the friend zone. It's the beginning of becoming someone the world notices, not because you chased attention, but because you became someone worth choosing. One of the most misunderstood truths in relationships is the belief that attraction can be earned simply through effort. Many people grow up thinking that if they are kind enough, supportive enough, and patient enough, feelings will eventually grow. They believe that loyalty, attention, and emotional availability will slowly transform friendship into romance. While these qualities are valuable in any healthy relationship, they are not the primary forces that create attraction. Attraction is emotional and instinctive. It cannot be negotiated, argued, or slowly convinced into existence. When someone places another person in the friend zone, it usually means a certain perception has already formed. In their mind, the dynamic has been defined. This person is safe, familiar, and comfortable, but not seen through a romantic lens. The mistake many people make is trying to escape that position by doing even more of what placed them there in the first place. They give more time, more attention, more favors, hoping that their dedication will eventually change the other person's feelings. Unfortunately, this often strengthens the existing dynamic rather than changing it. True attraction is more likely to grow when a person demonstrates confidence, emotional independence, and a strong sense of self. These qualities signal that someone has a full life beyond the approval of one individual. When a person stops chasing validation and begins focusing on personal growth, ambition, and purpose, their presence naturally becomes more compelling. People are drawn to those who respect themselves and who live with direction and clarity. The deeper lesson is that relationships should never be built on the hope of convincing someone to feel differently. Instead, they should develop between two individuals who naturally see value and attraction in each other. When someone understands this, they stop trying to negotiate feelings and begin investing their energy in becoming the strongest and most confident version of themselves. One of the most powerful shifts a person can make in life is realizing that they cannot control how someone else feels, but they can completely transform who they become. When someone finds themselves in the friend zone, the instinct is often to try harder. More attention, more kindness, more effort. Yet the truth is that effort directed toward convincing someone rarely changes their perception. What truly has the potential to shift dynamics is personal growth. When a person begins focusing on their own development, something remarkable starts to happen. Their energy changes. They invest time in improving their health, strengthening their mindset, pursuing goals, and building a life filled with purpose and direction. Confidence grows not from trying to impress someone, but from knowing you are moving forward in your own life. This kind of confidence is quiet but powerful, and people naturally notice it. Personal growth also builds emotional independence. Instead of waiting for someone's approval or hoping for their attention, a person begins to create fulfillment through their own ambitions, passions, and achievements. This mindset changes the way they interact with others. Conversations become more genuine, presence becomes more grounded, and self respect becomes visible. Even if the romantic dynamic never changes, the individual still gains something incredibly valuable. They become stronger, wiser, and more self aware. They learn that their worth is not defined by whether one person chooses them, but by the character they build and the life they create. Ironically, when someone stops chasing validation and starts investing in themselves, they often become far more attractive to others. The real inspiration in this lesson is that rejection or friendship is not the end of the story. It can become the beginning of personal transformation. When growth becomes the focus, new opportunities, healthier relationships, and deeper connections often follow naturally. In the end, the greatest lesson is that attraction and respect cannot be forced, negotiated, or slowly earned through endless effort. They grow naturally when two people genuinely see value and interest in each other. When someone tries to change another person's feelings by giving more attention or sacrificing their own needs, they often lose sight of the most important thing, their own self-worth. Real confidence begins the moment a person understands that they are not meant to chase validation, but to build a life that reflects strength, purpose, and clarity. The friend zone, while often disappointing, can become an important moment of awareness. It reveals how relationship dynamics work and encourages a person to shift their focus inward rather than outward. Instead of asking how to change someone else's perception, the wiser question becomes how to grow into a stronger, more confident version of oneself. This mindset not only builds emotional strength, but also opens the door to healthier and more balanced relationships in the future. When personal growth becomes the priority, everything else begins to align differently. Confidence replaces insecurity, purpose replaces uncertainty, and self respect replaces the need for constant approval. And in many ways, that transformation is far more valuable than escaping the friend zone. Because the true goal is not simply to win someone's attention, but to become a person whose presence, character, and direction naturally attract the right people into their life.